people. Let's talk. Hello people. Let's talk Pokemon X and Y. I see. Generation 6 offers the best Pokemon experience for you. Before you click away. Yes, the game is too easy. Way too easy. We can identify some factors of it, but yes, I do agree. And yes, I have the problem that because it is so easy, why we can't change the sorter in emulation? You know, I'm solo player. Whatever. Why is this game so easy? There are a couple of factors, like the player has access to way too strong Pokemons right at the beginning. Right like in the first town, you can have your Lucario. Yes, you can. And you get a Mega Stone Lucario at the middle of the game. And you have access to way too strong Pokemon anyway, and you get a Kanto starter on the top of everything. It's just unnecessary. And on top, a cherry on top, and on cherry on top is the Battle Castle, whatever you want to call it. It's a battle facility where you can harvest easy XP and easy money. Right after the first or second turn. It's just way too easy XP. There is the XP share, but I love the XP share. I don't like grinding my Pokemons. I just don't. It's just waste of time. Time is precious. I want my whole team to be on the kind of the same level. If I want them on the exact same level, I will just swap them around. Well, you don't have to find you don't have to fight everyone in the game. So if you want to do minimal battles, you have the option. If you are so strict to turn off the XP share, you can do that too, but it's absolutely unnecessary here or in the later generations. So, what maybe making all the NPC fights entirely optional and even hidden in the Sword Shield Scarlet Violet, maybe that's the point, that people should realize, yes, there is the XP share, yes, it is always active, but if you don't want the XP, you don't have to get the XP. Just skip over the optional trainers. So, with that aside, I have one more problem as it being too easy. Why is Draudigon and all the cool Pokemon late game, like after halfway point? Yeah, I have that problem. I want to play through the whole game as Draudigon. That's a cool Pokemon, but I will never do that because there is no code for it. You know, even the emulator makers are cooperate, cooperating with Nintendo, and they did not insert the code to have every starter, every Pokemon optional from the start. You have to go and capture your optional starter if you don't want the grass, water, fire starters. So absolutely boring at this point. Anyway, why do I say this is the best Pokemon experience? Well, for starter, you have an optional moving around option is skateboarding. I love the skateboarding around, and I hate that we don't have a big road that you can see what you are doing. So for the for the short and tiny roads and obstacles and trainers everywhere, skateboarding is not very accessible, unfortunately. But I love the mechanic, love the controller, the speed, love everything with it. So I would like a Pokemon skateboarding side game, or just Pokemon with bigger roots. And yeah, the other thing is, I said XY has a pacing problem. You know, the battle facility is not post game, but right at the start of the game. How does the game start? You arrive in this village and you have your own house on your name, not your mother's or parents' name. What is weird, I very much suspect. In this game, your parents are divorced. They are going through a divorce. That's why the housing is on your name and not on your parent, because, you know, you can't take it away if you are concluding the divorce. Oh, it's a beautiful town. It's a utopian town. It's a beautiful town. It's everything. Now let's move from it. We can't have it. What? It is so dichotomy. It's just, what do you want from me? And then you go out. There is the first road, and nothing is in it. Absolutely no item, no encounters with wild Pokemons, no trainers, absolutely nothing. The first town is literally part of your starting village, is part of the first city. You don't sum it with this. What are we even doing? But when you think it's just a funny aspect of the design. Okay, let's move on. We also don't have a rival, which is absolutely unusual. We could argue, if we dig deep in previous games, that generations 3, 4, 5 were not really a rival, or that kind of jizz, but here it is in your face noticeable. So what is going on with this game, and what's with the evil faction? What is with this AZ and his flat? What? And that's the point. That yes, this is a casual game. From the start, you can have all the best clothing, and you have money to afford it. And it's the mindless spend your money all around. I love that aspect. I love that part of the casual experience, and then love the EV training minigames. You just know with one move you can just rebuild your character from the get-go as the way you like. There is no berry breeding and whatever hunting to null your EVIs, and it's just an easy 10 minutes, half an hour rebuilding, especially if you unlocked everything. I love that. I miss that. And we will talk about this aspect in the Ultra games. But I just love this part. And yes, the riding part with the Rhyhorn, it's just a missed opportunity. Whatever, moving on. So, what's with the. Let's discuss what's with the other kids. What who are supposed to be rivals or friends? They are not your friends. You just moved into this city. They are not your friends. You barely know them like 5 minutes ago. And you don't encounter with them frequently enough to build a relationship, aside maybe in your head. So there is, because of the anime, I play a male in this one, strictly as a male, because then the character you can call rival is Serena. And we know Serena. And we know Serena. So, what is going on with this her? She loves battling. She wants to be the champion, the strongest trainer in the region. That functions, so to say. My big problem is when it comes to the tower of the Megastone, where you get the Lucario, you are fighting for the free Lucario. And you can already have one, so don't worry, game, please. We are not stupid. You are forced to get this Mega Lucario. Do you need it? No, you don't. And you are fighting for it with this NPC, rival NPC. And you can lose. Sure, it's the easiest game in the franchise, and you very likely will have an overleveled group, but I can go back and willfully change my group to be a level 5 Snivy or whatever Pokemon you catch on the first route. Why can't I make the rival have the Mega Lucario? It's perfectly built up, and if Game Freak would care the tiniest bit, this story would be awesome. When we fight the evil team there, or catching the title legendary, whatever. Serena goes there, and imagine, with the Mega Lucario, she suffers the devastating defeat and begs you on her knees after failing to win the battle, falls on her knees and begs you, save us. And you say, yes, I come here and supported with all the prophecy and everything, your Megastone and your Kanto starter and all your crazy Pokemon overleveled. You come in here and save the day, despite she having the prophesized Mega Lucario. Imagine just that the rival, in a very Gario situation, losing to the biggest threat and can't save the region, can't save the world and have to beg you, despite already beating you, having the prophecy behind her, having the Mega Stone, having the given Super Pokemon, and have to beg you, save the world, and you do. This could have been built in very easily. The cartridge had space for this scenario, and we are offered optional dialogues here. We have the build-up. Why is this not in the game? Then we would have the perfect game story-wise. Now what's with the other trainers in our friend group? What is even our friend group in this game? They are not friends and they are not rivals. They are students. This will go on this and challenge the league thing, go on this journey, is the final exam of your childhood experience. Yes, you are 10, 11 years but kids, but that's the universe, how it works. So, this is summer school. You are put with a bunch of random kids and you will either connect with them or not. And this is a very big appeal for me in this game, that I, the player, have to connect with them. It's not my character, who is a very Neo from the Matrix, like bland shape for the player to insert itself into the game, into the story. If you don't find connection with any of them, that's on you. If you find connection with each of them, it's on you. If you find a connection with some of them, that's on you. But this is a summer school situation. And yes, everyone has their own agenda, like dancing and filling up the Pokédex, but I want to point on the fact that when you get the Kanto, the starters, there are only 3 Pokémons. And you are a group of 5. Why the other 2 don't get a chance for this? So focus on the 2 who are filling up the Pokédex, and the small guy and the fat dancing guy. What's with their dynamic? If you follow closely, they always are separate from the other 3, and they are starting the journey as friends. They walk around together, and at one point, around the halfway point, this Tierno is expressing it as, oh yeah, they're dancing. And the small guy is just has enough, and they go on their separate way. What happened here? my idea is, and the small guy always try to have a closer connection with Tierno. And my headcanon is they are a gay couple. Or yeah, at least the small guy is trying to have a gay relationship, love relationship with Tierno. You know, it's just a kid, so it's nothing sexual, but I think that it's happening here. And Tierno, with his dancing routine, is oblivious to this fact. And that's a tragic love story between them. The small guy has to realize this just isn't working. And before, something that supports this idea of mine is that when you are playing a female protagonist, oh yeah, sorry. So when you are playing a female protagonist, then when you go to the big palace thing, then the the NPC, the trainer from this group, is not changed. So when you are watching the beauty from the balcony, you having a moment of, you know, a moment with a female NPC, no matter what. And if you are playing a female protagonist, you are having a lesbian relationship building. I have no idea why the characters are not flipped to the male character appearing here if you are playing the female protagonist, but that's just a fact of the game. So if you ask me, there is some things going on with the rivals what are interesting in this game. Now let's move on to the evil team. They are, they are not even knowing what they are doing. That's just the fact of the game. And Luz, who is the... And Lysander is into beauty, and he says something about scarcity of resources, which we don't see in the game. The point is, what does mean by beauty? It doesn't mean like you look at something, it's beautiful. No, it means persistence, infinity. He means something that is not getting ruined, that does not spoil. That's his definition of beauty. That's why he's seeking immortality. So that's a well-founded goal. You just have to think beyond the superficial terms, the words. You have to understand what the words mean the character is using. Now, what's with the scarcity aspect? Because I just hushed it away and don't care. I just watched a video about X and Y. There is one scarcity: megastones. And yeah, sure, it's a game mechanic and whatever, it's badly designed, what not. I just don't like it. I like dynamics because every Pokemon has access to it. Yeah, sure, there are special dynamax things that you basically have access to it. Anyway, uh, here Megastone is a scarcity, and I think because there is no apparent running out of resources, maybe Megastones represents, especially that this is the easiest game in the franchise, overconsumption. You don't need Megastones to win, but you still have access to it and you will probably still use it. I don't. I went on the route that using a Ledian to beat the game because that's a famously weak Pokemon and I have no problem winning with that. And if you are trying to play X and Y, I suggest you do because it's a good casual experience. Just skip the Battle Castle. You don't need it. You will be strong enough without it anyway. So, I think the evil team is good. Works for me. They are having a well enough reason for a Pokemon game. Now, this leads us to this AZ, the 300 or whatever years old guy. He's just existing in an immortal state. This is the myth, the legend of this region. And my problem with the Pokemon regions is we don't have one. Something states that sure there are 3 super strong birds, fire, ice and electricity, they are here and here and here. That's it. Fine. What was the mythology behind it? What was the unknown part? What was the questionable part of this? No, you said facts and they were true. So, now here we have the only real myth of Pokemon. And that's the myth, the legend of AZ. The start of the legend, access of it, starts very early in the first town when we visit this small castle near the giant castle. And we are told that the big castle's owner was a bad guy, evil guy, abused Pokemon and whatever, and this guy everyone loved because taxes were low and whatnot. But when we get to the giant castles, oh, he was the big ruler, he had all this connection to Pokemon and just look, everything is... And you start to think. And later, especially if you look at the painting, who is this guy? There is a painting of the owner of the castle who built the castle, the original owner of the castle. And we have another painting in the Lumiosity Museum. And we have all these paintings. What is going on with that? And in the Lumiosity we have more elements of the legend. And everyone has something to add to about the AZ and the flat and the castle. And yes, it turns out that the huge castle was AZ's. That's a shocker. And in the museum there is a painting that is just not there. It was stolen. And it never turns up. Why? It's very likely related. It's related to AZ. What is the thing we cannot see? What is the part we don't have access to? Or part of the legend? We don't know. And I print screened all the dialogues related to the AZ legend. And everyone, and his weapon. Was it a weapon? One version of the story says that he built a weapon and shot every Pokemon because he got tired of this Pokemon war. And this battle was a Pokemon war. It was not a war of humans. AZ's Flat, a Pokemon, asked permission from AZ to go to this Pokemon war. AZ was the owner of that flat, and the flat asked AZ to go away, his own owner. AZ did not went to war because this was a war of Pokemon, not humans. And that's just shocking. A real Pokemon war happened between Pokemons, which had nothing to do with humans. Which is mind-blowing. So the other version of the story is that AZ built this giant thing to resurrect Float. And another portion of this version of the story is that he used life energy of Pokemons to rise the Float, and something went wrong, or there was a miscalculation, and Float became immortal as well as AZ. How are these two versions that maybe how these two versions that this equipment, this machine was built to rise Float? Was this built to stop the Pokemon war? Was this built because AZ was frustrated with the Pokemons warring each other? Or was this built that AZ loved Pokemon and he hated war? Or what? Or was this, or AZ used this to blast the Pokemons and then resurrect the Float? My version of the myth, what happened actually, my version of it is that all of this combined. I think AZ hated the Pokemon battle, had the idea to build this machine when Float died. His goal was to resurrect Float. He designed this so to say, weapon to stop the war and by that resurrect Flat. He built a machine to use Pokemon life essence to resurrect Flat and by that stop the war at the same time. It's not one after the other. It's not resurrecting Flat and Flat going away, making crazy, and then he blasted everyone away, or he blasted everyone away and then resurrected Flat or whatever. No, he did everything at the same time. He's a complex character with complex motivation, and that's why we have all these versions of the legend. That one person says he was an evil tyrant, the other said he could talk with Pokemon, it had absolute real connection. He built this magnificent castle to have the Pokemon's home, and others say he just built it because he was a fascist dictator and he was so narcissistic. He just built it to grandiose himself, and that's why his flight left him. And there are all these versions, and everyone thinks something different from AZ because he's a real person with real motivations, and history is not black and white. History is real persons, real motivations, and mistakes and intentions, everything. And it depends on who you ask, how you judge the people. That's why, if you watch The Cellar, it's a German documentary, there is a segment which has a registered Nazi celebrating, not a Nazi, just someone who thinks back on the Nazi era fondly, and he has a point that when the Nazis were ruling Germany, he felt elevated. He felt that he is important. He didn't like all the killings and the war and the oppression, but he still felt he was at the top of the world. Is he a bad person for it? Not. Should he go around unregistered? No, definitely not. He's a real person. And that's just the fact of life. So that's why I say Pokemon X and Y is the best Pokemon experience. It has great gimmicks, it has great controls, it has great elements, it has great Pokemons, even if you don't necessarily have access to them. It has an interesting evil theme, it has an interesting new rival friend dynamic, and it has a true legend in its core. There's a real myth going around. So, yes, it's not. That's why you don't defeat the big evil group as the end of the game and then you go do the Pokemon League. That's why the actual ending of the game is a fight with AZ. There is a brief post game, but you know, it's worth doing, but it's nothing really special. But the core game story, I love it. And if you don't like Pokemon, but you are a casual gamer, I say try it. You don't have to dedicate yourself into it. You don't have to look through charts. You just sit down, hit the button, and you have a fun time with it. So that's an appeal too.